Hi there. It's been a long time. Here we are, day 150, 150 of hashtag grounded. March 27th is the day we came home. We're sent home to work from home. I don't think I've made one of these videos or had one of these conversations since like day 80. So it's been a long time. That's like halfway ago. And the world has lost its mind since then. Its mind. We went from, we got to stay home, there's sickness, to what is going on out there? We've had protests burning down cities. We've had areas of cities that have been taken over by people, and we have politicians that are looking at that saying, well, this is okay. We have people defining peaceful protests as something that no rational person considers peaceful. There's a lot of question about whether some of that is sensationalized. Are we seeing the whole picture? Are we not seeing the whole picture? I don't know. I suspect, that the media and the different ways you can consume what's going on is probably sensationalized a bit. Some of it's true. You can drive around and you can see everything that's been going on. You see in the news the things that are going on, precincts being shut down and buildings being torched and or burned down and all of that. And COVID is going on during the same thing, during the same time. And it's really, really scary. Not so much the COVID, but what's going on, what's happening to our world. I know way back here, somewhere in this range, I was asking, does anybody know anybody with COVID? And I didn't know anybody with it. And I kind of characterize that as, if you saw him in the store, would you stop and talk to him? And just a couple weeks ago, somebody that I've never met, but I talk to on the phone all the time, that I would definitely stop and talk to, is a vendor of mine, or ours, companies. She got hit with COVID. She woke up one morning, was putting on her hand lotion, no smell. She's like, oh my gosh, I hope I don't have COVID. She went to the doctor, got diagnosed that way. Sure enough, she had it. She characterized it as being hit by a truck. Now, she's never had the flu before. So was it a big truck or a little truck? I don't know, but she had it. And then I also know another person who two of the children have it, have been diagnosed with having the virus. I'm not sure the rest of it that's going on. I don't know if they actually have COVID or if they're asymptomatic or what that situation is. Haven't talked much about it. I've noticed in some of the things that I've been reading about that when we hear the news talking about COVID and the statistics and all of that, we need to listen for phrases like, did they die with COVID or from COVID? And there's a distinction there. There's a lot of difficulty in gathering statistics on all of this. Because, for example, you go to your walk-in clinic, they test you for coronavirus, and you're positive. Okay, we have a case. They send you to the emergency room for whatever reason, could be unrelated to that. They test you. Oh, positive. You're now counted twice. Once at the clinic, once at the hospital, or at the emergency room. The emergency room transfers you to another hospital. They test you, or they have you, one way or the other, and you are going to be one of their cases. Check. So now, in the statistics for your area, you've been counted 3 times, but you're really only one person. So how do these things all add up? We're not sure. There's no standardized reporting on all of this. So it's very, very confusing. We keep hearing, follow the science, follow the science. We're following the science. What science? Have we seen science? Or are we just saying we're following the science? And in a conversation with that, somebody said, well, Fauci said. Fauci's a politician. He's been serving, what, 4 presidents now? He's a politician. Science is not politics. And there's not a real clear line there. And it seems that when the people that we would consider scientists, the people that are doctors, board certified emergency room physicians, those type of people, speak out against what the political people are saying, they're shut down. They're fired. They're let go. Where's the science? Isn't science about exploring these opportunities, or not opportunities, exploring the possibilities, exploring the situation? That doesn't sound like open-minded science to me. And I've been challenged when stating that some organizations weren't impartial, and doctors being impartial and the news being impartial. And I don't think that there's a line that's clear enough between science and politics, at least on the great big scale. So when it comes down to the smaller scale things, I don't know what to trust there either. So I kind of have to make my own judgment. And people are saying, what's wrong with all these people? They're trying to get on with their life. Don't they know? Don't they know? Well, who knows? Who knows? And there's not a bond of trust between the people that are supposed to be telling us the truth and the people that are supposed to be hearing the truth. It's a mess. From a personal standpoint, I'm still working from home, 150 days, right? And we're all getting pretty used to it. What will it look like, provided anything ever gets back to something that's called normal, where we've now learned that we can work from home? We used to put air quotes around work from home. Now, is it really that case? We actually can work from home. We've learned to be productive. We've got the tools. It's different, but it's working out. At my work, a lot of work has gone back. I work at a manufacturer, so that's really hard to do from home. So a lot of the direct support people are still working at the plant or have returned to the plant, and some of the people that are more physical or hands-on are there. We may need to come up with some new technology to allow people to work from home. That will be interesting. Kind of deviated away from the suspicions or the not trusting anything that's coming out of the medical community. I won't say anything, but not having a lot of trust. I was doing some reading at the CDC and the Department of Health website, and I found some things that make me wonder. There's a 20% add-on for billing for a COVID-19 diagnosis. So if you get a diagnosis, whether that's what you were there for or not, if you're diagnosed with COVID, 20% increase in the Medicare billing rates. There's something called a 50% rule that has to do with how much Medicare hospital bills. I don't completely understand it, but it's called the 50% rule. And that's been waived. So you can now bill more than before. If the patient is placed on a ventilator, triple the payments, 3 times the payments. I don't think it's likely that real fraud is happening. There's probably fringe cases, but I don't suspect that there's fraud going on. But we know hospitals are run by administrators, and they've got billing they've got to get done, and costs and all of that. So do they push a little bit more? Do additional diagnoses that might be irrelevant get added to the list? If it's just a matter of putting on it, sure, they did have COVID. We'll put that on there. That's not what they were treated for. That's not what the spirit of the law is about, or not the law, but the reduction in the regulations. That's not what the spirit of that is for, but we're taking some opportunity of that. So how much does that play into the statistics that we're hearing about? I don't know. It just makes me suspicious because I don't know who to trust. I don't have that source out there that I can say, Walter Cronkite said it, I'll believe it. I don't know who to believe that way. What other weird things have come up, or not weird, but changes have happened? Oh, you can now only eat at a restaurant with 3 of your household members. Does that include my son? He doesn't live with me. Is he a household member or not? Don't know. You can have a wedding of but only 30 people, and you can't have a reception. We're kind of going back to remote learning. One of the things that I like is, well, let's back up. We can protest without a mask, but we can't go to the store without a mask. Does that make a lot of sense? The whole protest, the difference between what the protesters are allowed to do and what people in a protest are allowed to do and what the general population are allowed to do is very confusing. It makes our elected leadership look confused, and they do genuinely seem to be confused. Schools are going to offer distance learning, and in some cases, they're going to have both distance learning and in-person learning. Pick one. And people are upset about that. Why would you be upset about that? If you're a parent and you're concerned about that, your child goes distance learning. If you're a parent and you don't have a concern about that, or you don't think it's a risk, or you're willing to accept the risk, we all accept risks every day. So if you're willing to accept that risk, then send them to in-person school or classes. Why would people be upset about that? But they are. Go out and look for articles and information on Dr. Simone Gold. A little earlier, I mentioned a board-certified ER physician. She's one of these people. She believes that I'm going to have trouble, hydroxychloroquine is a drug we should at least be able to use. Doctors, since January and February, around in that time frame, have been prevented from prescribing that one drug for off-label use. Off-label use is a common thing. The doctors get to make that determination. I guess there are some drugs you're not allowed to use off-label, but she characterized it as all the time. They prescribe this all the time. Hydroxychloroquine has been around for 65 years. It's a generic drug. It's used frequently for off-label use. In a lot of the world, it's a over-the-counter drug, or it was over-the-counter. You could just go get it. It is that safe. We know that much about it, that we can just give it over the counter. It's apparently works best as an early drug, not as much as a later drug, and the other stuff that they were working with is a later drug. I don't know what he is to us, but Dr. Fauci knows about this. He was a part of the testing in 2005 for for SARS-CoV version 1. That was in 2005. So here we are in 2019, and the virus is a little different. It's SARS-CoV-2, right? In 2019, 14 years difference. It's a long time. The two viruses are 78% identical to one another. But the doctors are not allowed to prescribe it for off use anymore. France and other countries have put it back on the poisonous list, which means it has to have a prescription now. Why? What possible use does that have for taking it off of the safe list and putting it on the poisonous list? Follow the money. There's a 65-year-old drug that might be effective. Who's hurt? What's the problem with that? I think we follow the money. If there's a competitor out there that's cheap and over the counter, who benefits if they can't use it for it and have to use something new? Yes, I sound like a conspiracist, but why would they do that? I'm just looking at these these points. Why would they take it off? Why would they change? Who are the people that are censoring tweets and Facebook posts? Do they have a team of expert doctors, or is Zuckerberg using his own thoughts to censor? I guess you can't really censor it in a technical term, but to remove posts because he believes, or his staff believes, it's false. Who's telling him it's false? Who is directing that? Same thing with Twitter. Who is judging tweets to be false information or not? Where are they getting their accurate information? I kind of like working at home. I get into a little bit of a groove. I still want all of this over. I think I'm looking forward to the changes that it means to me in the workplace, that it's going to mean to all of us in our daily lives to have learned about this scenario, what it'll be like, and coping with it. We've saved a lot of money. You know, you don't spend as much money. It's kind of amazing. But I'm a little bit tired of everything that it's bringing with it. I like the reduced stress of working at home. I don't like what is happening to my society and to my country, and the attitudes and the intolerance of people to have conversations. You know, my daughter, who you've probably met, we've talked, and I have very different viewpoints sociologically or societally. We view society different, but we can have conversations on it. And she understands my point. I understand her point. I don't necessarily agree with it. I still love her. I still like spending time with her. I think she still loves me and still likes spending time with me. We just differ in our opinions. I am just as committed to my opinion as she is to hers. And for me to think that her opinion is somehow less to her than it is to me is kind of insulting to her. But we both know we have it. We both grow a little bit. We both have these conversations where we learn. I think that's a good thing that's come out of a lot of this. So anyhow, that's about it. I'll post some links to that Medicare information. I'll post those down in the comments or in the description, wherever I post those things on this. Just so you know I'm not completely making it up or only listening to Fox News, which I don't watch Fox News. I got accused of that at work the other day. I said, I don't believe the mainstream media. Well, you believe Fox News? No, I don't watch them either. I consume my media different ways. I watch the local news because I think the local news points out what's happening. You got to kind of filter a little bit for the things they say, but I can do that. But you've got to go find your sources of news, be willing to listen to one another, listen to other people, ask questions to learn, ask questions to find out what their opinions are. It'll go really well. It'll go a lot better. I think that's about it. Again, hashtag grounded, day 150 days since I was grounded. Just so you know, everybody's saying, I can't wait for 2021. We think that's going to change. We think it's going to be different. It's a date on a calendar. Here's how big that date is. Mad Max took place in 2021. Get your cars, get your masks. It's all going to happen. I hope not. Anyhow, hey, leave comments for me. I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get my subscribers up. I got like 45 subscribers. I want you to be number 46. I want somebody to be 50. Actually, what I really want is somebody to be subscriber 1,000. That's kind of the number I'm looking for. So like and subscribe. It helps the channel. It helps me get picked up on the algorithm. It's kind of fun to watch the views happen. It's entertainment. It's something that I do during this time. I've also got a channel on gardening and I've done a couple of woodworking ones. Those are really hard. So I'm learning to edit videos. I've got this new camera. I hope the audio on this is pretty good. It's got stereo microphone, so does that sound any different? Hopefully, I don't know. I will know in a little bit. I'm learning to do the editing and stuff. So anyhow, thanks for watching. Subscribe, please, please. It helps.